People, greetings, my people. Today is Monday, March 2nd, 2026. The time is, what time is it? 1:56 p.m. And I'm going to be quick with this one, sure enough. And I just came across this, and this soundbite comes from The Art of Dialogue. And it has the actor Clifton Powell. And the only reason I'm talking about this excuse me, is because I mentioned this character a couple of weeks ago in talking about Corey Holcomb, right? And he's being asked about that controversial hard role that he played in Woman Thou Art Loose as a pedo, right? And the thing is, here's my thing. Criticism comes with everything. Now, are there lines, depending on what it is, that people are allowed to come to a person and say when criticizing a person? You could make a case for that, absolutely, right? I think if you don't like somebody craft and work, then you have to distinguish between the real person and the character that they're playing, right? But what we have to understand is movies affect real life. Movies affect real life thinking. And he begins to get into talking about the criticism. And I'm going to play a bit of the soundbite. Let me see. Let me just make sure. Okay, cool. Let me see.
How do you feel about the people that was critiquing your past roles when they was, giving you pushback for the comments you made that went viral?
Um, yeah, I think, and I said it in the podcast that we did, a while ago. People, stop. We got to do better. Pull up my resume.
And I want to talk about, and I'm going to talk about the quote unquote do better.
I play doctors. I play lawyers. I play police officers. I play pastors. I spoke on Women That Are Loose before, and I'm going to speak on it again. Reuben Cannon, who put me in Buffalo Soldiers, put me in Why Do Fools Fall in Love, put me in Selma Lord Selma as Martin Luther King, which was a highlight of my career. Reuben Cannon, a lot of times in Hollywood, when a casting director of his stature likes your work, they try to find things for you because they like your work. Woman Thou Art Loose was a piece that came across his desk. I think he was one of the producers. They had a name actor in it that dropped out the day of. Reuben Cannon called me. He said, Cliff, I need you, man. He called me on a Wednesday. He said, I need you on set Thursday. One of my main guy dropped out. I didn't even get a chance to read the script. Probably had I read the script, I probably would have turned that role down.
And the role that he's talking about is the role, that extremely uncomfortable role in Woman Thou Art Loose, when he assaults and rapes a little girl, right? So here's the thing that I just want to pose questions in this video. What are realistic things to do in the acting field when it comes to roles of this magnitude, right? And what I mean, should actors take these roles, or should these roles be turned down? And the reason I'm asking that is like, should they take these roles and portray real life characters and the thing that real life characters do to children, or should they turn these roles down? Now, the question I have for him, and I think he's at a point where he don't want to continue to talk about it, but the question that I have about him is that when you tell me you have a line of certain things that you won't do, But then you'll take this role. I raise an eyebrow, but I'm gonna continue.
But because it was Ruben, I went in. He said it's called Women That Are Loose, but I didn't know what the script was about. When I got to set, I got there an hour earlier. I read the script. I said, you know what? I'll do this. It's not something I would like to do, but I'm going to do it. But I tell you this, the scene where I have to touch that little girl, I'm not doing that. We can hear sounds and slam the door. I have taken more flack for that role. And I love Black folks. And I said it before. I'm not going to talk about NIGGAs, but some people just want to be negative. Do your research on my career. I'm a character actor. Just like I got some smoke about playing a gay man, and then they put up the picture of me on a motorcycle doing a spoof. If it was a spoof, I'm a character actor. I can morph into Dr. King right now. I can morph into almost any character you want to see. But it's acting. And
we get that. Hey, how you doing? You said, who are we talking about? I'm just asking a question. And I'm a little bit hoarse today, a bit under the weather, so I'm not going to be long. But I'm talking about, and you can see this actual clip on the Art of Dialogue. And this is the actor Clifton Powell, who plays Pinky, and Friday, who played Chauncey in Minister Society. And he's asking him about the controversial role that he played in Woman Thou Art Loose as the pedo that did that horrible thing to that little girl. And the question that I'm asking is, how do we deal with these type of roles? Should these type of roles be taken by actors or actresses, or should they be turned down? And he's talking about all the criticism that he received for this role. And so I just want to play and have a short dialogue about this because I'm just gonna get to what I think about the criticism of this.
You're never going to see me, kissing a man on screen. I don't do that. That's just for me. And you can judge me. You can talk about me.
And see, that's one of my things when he says, you'll never see me kissing a man. Absolutely respect that. Absolutely respect a man that say, yo, because that would be me if I'm an actor. Yo, I don't feel comfortable with this. But the thing that I would ask a question, so you don't feel comfortable with that. But he said he did this off of a favor for the director, Reuben Cannon. And this was last minute. He didn't get a chance to read the script, so he didn't know what the script entailed in Woman Thou Art Loose. So the question that I would ask, you're uncomfortable with kissing a man, rightfully so, but you're comfortable with being portrayed as a pedo. Now, the question I also ask, fair or foul to produce these type of movies, because we know this is real life, right? How you doing? But I'm gonna continue to play.
I have a problem with whatever people do with their intimate lives. But I have a right as a person to decide what is comfortable for me. Spoofs are about as far as I'll go. And I've done several spoofs. The Breaks was a spoof. I did a play where we spoofed. That's where I draw the line. I'm not playing I'm trying not to play. The guy wanted me to play a coon on the show. I have to draw the line. My firm base, the base of my support comes from the African American community. I'm not going to just literally just go out and play some step and fetch it kind of guy. I don't.
Again, very good. He says he's an actor. So he's an incredible actor. He has a wide range. He can play funny. He can play whatever. But again, you have a limit and say, I'm not going to play a coon, but I will allow myself to be depicted. And I'm not here to attack him because, and I said, I'm talking about this because I used this exact same character when I was explaining the Corey Holcomb situation and how you have to be careful with the type of men that you bring into your house because these men will be looking at your little girls. So I'm not here to beat down Clifton Powell. I actually like Clifton Powell as an actor. But that role always kind of disturbed me, and it kind of bothered me as a man. It was always the first time I seen it, it was like extremely uncomfortable to watch, right?
Anybody who does, I'm just not going to do it. And if you don't understand that, then I don't know what to tell you. You know, do your research. You know, that again, Women Are Loosed was a movie that I did because Reuben Cannon was so wonderful to me in the early part of my career. It's easy, Art, to be, you know, smug when you make a lot of money. And I'm back. I make good money now and I'm blessed, but I went through some tough years. It's real.
And again, I think we're in such a judgy, sensitive society, especially now. And I'm gonna use boxing a little bit, right? Because it bothers me when actors come down on regular people every day who I think we don't understand how we need each other. And I think sometimes actors, and I heard Denzel Washington, and he was coming down on people that don't have no life and, you know, people that judge these things. And I'm like, I can understand what you're saying because there is a line that you go to a person's page and just say something out of line, and he's going to talk about something that somebody said to his mom that, hey, that's just out of line. He's playing a character, right? But I think we have to reserve the space to talk about things because he said majority of his support comes from the black community, right? So you'll say that in one hand, but when the criticism is coming from that very same community that supports you, people kind of want to get on a high horse. And what I don't like is like the negative depictions, right? Because they even tried to do it to Cam Newton when he was critiquing a football quarterback. And here's the depiction they'll give you when they don't like your critique. They'll reduce you to just being somebody that don't have no life. You live in your mom's basement. You know, you only thing you do is be negative, right? And I think criticism varies because you could be an actor. I've seen Paul Pierce, I've seen actors criticize Shakur Stevenson and say they don't like the way he fight. They critique the hell out of the way he fight and say, I don't like the way you fight. And they do it in a negative way. So I think it's subjective, right?
To be smug when you're good and your money's flowing. But the real true test is how are you when you were down in your luck and people helped you? Do you remember them? I remember everybody, and Reuben Cannon was one of those casting directors who found something for me anytime he was working. So I went in and I'm glad I did it because after the shows, we had panel discussions and discovered and put a safety net out there for a lot of those women. The other thing I'm going to say is we got to stop thinking.
Hey Siri, which app is the best for clearing iPhone storage space? Totally free. This app.
And somebody said, well, you played a tough guy so well that it's a compliment. It's not a compliment. Robert De Niro, Pacino, and Joe Pesci, they kill people when damn near 3 people are asleep. And I think my people just hang on to it too much. You know, I
want to stop on that and stop on that critique right there. Because when you bring up a movie like Goodfellas, and notice I talk about behavior modification all the time. I tell people go check out Albert Bandura, who talked about how they use the soap operas to shape the way women's mindset, right? And when you say black people hang on to that so much, I think you have to look at how much this stuff is being pumped into us. Yeah, Joe Pesci, Robert De Niro, they can play gangsters. But America has this way of they also play us in heroes. They also play us white people as heroes. So what I mean by that, you'll see more of white people playing the beautiful destination, right? And what I mean by the beautiful destination is you'll see more of them playing the upside. With us, it's always negative. It's always, whether it's Snowfall, whether it's Power, whether it's BMF, whether it's the music. He played Chauncey in Minister of Society. And I think that because they're uber sensitive and because they think people have control of their own mind, I don't think a lot of these actors, or maybe they're downplaying it. I don't think that they understand how much the characters they play shapes our mindset. There's a goofy prick on YouTube that calls himself Nino Brown. I can't stand that guy. I can't stand that guy. And if we go back and look at the character of Nino Brown, Nino Brown was a straight sucker. But he birthed so many dudes that wanted to be drug dealers. So many guys wanted to, when they talk about the Carter, look at what the Carter did to black people culturally, or black people collectively, should I say. So when I hear them say Robert De Niro plays this, but they also play different roles. The music isn't saturating them to hate each other as much, because white people don't have to compete as much as we have to. Does it make sense what I'm saying? But let me continue.
Character actor. I've never been arrested. I take care of my kids. I don't hit women. I don't get in trouble. I'm not on drugs. I'm a character actor, and I'm trained, and I can morph in and out of characters because of my training. And that's it. But black people, like we said about the guy that came to my page and called my mother, and we're not going to go into what else he said. I mean, that's disrespectful, man, over a role that you don't even know the background. So stop making dumb comments and do your research, people. I just did a pastor on BMF a couple of weeks ago, you know.
And now I can understand him saying, yo, you out of pocket to call my mom this. But then he said, I played a pastor on BMF. And again, I'm not tearing down Clifton Powell. I just want to examine actors in the way that they got to understand the power of their ability to act. Because you can play something so believable. What's the guy that played in that had Sheila driving up the mountain? Why Did I Get Married? A lot of people still don't like him because he played that role so goddamn good. Right? So actors shape narratives. They create archetypes. They create characters. And those characters, movies can bring about life. I always talk about The Original Birth of a Nation by D.W. Griffith. And this movie spawned the Klan. And in that movie, it's a silent movie, and I think my people should look at that movie. But what the narrative that they shaped was, this was the ultimate white man's burden, right? And the white man must save his people from the sexual deviant black man that's after the innocent white girl. And the Klan came to save the day. So movies and roles shape mindsets, right?
I got some new stuff coming up where I'm playing a heroin guy that's dealing heroin. And then I'm playing a politician over here. And then I got another job coming up where I'm another pastor. We are character actors.
You might want to try a book. Okay? I told y'all, you come in and you just talk. And this is partly what he's talking about, of people that just talk. This book is called Hooded Americanism. And it even talks about that movie. Right? So you can find another way to be an asshole, to be a next level asshole.
watch your comments, man, because sometimes people just say blatant. Let me say it the way I want to say. They say blatant shit that doesn't even match with the hell they saw, and we got to do better. That's all I can say. And it's offensive to me. And I have.
And you actually do have a comprehension thing, and I'm glad that you have a comprehension issue.
A hard time handling it sometimes, especially when somebody comes to your page and like I said before, my mother they found my mother in the bottom of the Anacostia River, and for you to come to my page because you saw a role that you didn't like me play and call my mama eating, you are way out of line, and I don't think anybody should accept that. And that's just how I feel. And so we got to do better. You know, I got a movie I'm doing, and I'm not going to say the title, but I'm playing it's based on a true story. But this cat is tough, and I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of flack, but I'm going to do it because it's an interesting story. And a gentleman whose life it is, he turned his life around. You know, I think black folks are just hard on each other. You know, I don't want to say black folks or NIGGAs. I think as a race of people, we just hard on each other, man. And I can handle it. You come to my page talking shit about my mama, and I'm going to handle it. And if you want to come for me, I'm going to be ready because I think that's way out of line.
I agree with that.
Anybody else that comes to my page, most of the time, even after this roundtable,
I agree with that. And I think that's where we need to understand when he's saying, he's playing a character. And like I say, in no means about what I'm saying is to demean him as a man or actor. I'm examining his comments, right? And you have dumbasses all the time in your comments. So you can't crash out, but sometimes they just take it too far. Like I will depends on what a person is saying. I will question what a person do or say in their comments. But I'm not such a loser that I will stop and go troll a person's page. Like I do think that's no matter what race you are, I do think you're a bottom shelf loser if you have nothing better to do than sit in somebody's comment and just troll them. But it's a part of society, right? But
read the discussions. Some girl, the comments, some girl said, I hate everything he does. What he did on the round table was unbearable. And then one gentleman came and broke it all down and said, first of all, the guy didn't give Mr. Powell a chance to finish. Mr. Powell was making some real positive statements. One psychiatrist came to my page. She said, I love how you tried to break everything down. And then they had another clip where the guy said, didn't you say that? I said, that's not exactly what I said. You know, some people are coming in, you know, making all kinds of random comments, though they put the argument up before they put the context. So, and also the last time we did Art of Dialogue, people came in and took everything out of perspective. Other smaller platforms come and put their own heading. Cliff Powell bashes Spike Lee again. I said on the podcast the last time I was here, I was playing around when I made a comment about Spike Lee. If you want to know about Spike Lee and his business practices, go back and do your research about the actors from She's Gotta Have It. That's all I'm going to say. Now, having said that, now that I'm a little older, some of the guys that have walked with me in these last 30 years, 40 years, have helped me see it from other perspectives. I should have not made that comment, even in joking, and I should have seeked out Spike Lee and talked to him privately. And I said that in the last podcast, but still a smaller platform came and took it and sensationalized it as clickbait. So I can't stop that, but I'm here to clear the record up. I apologize, and I'll apologize again to Mr. Spike Lee because I should have sought him out and not even made a joke about it. But if you want to understand everything, do your research. It's a lot, Art.
The person you're meant to be with already exists.
And again, I just wanted to play those comments because I do think that people have to understand that he's an actor. But I do think that they have to understand when you play certain type of characters, you're playing into people's or you're tapping on people's traumas. So to play that type of role in Woman Thou Art Loose, whether we agree with it or not. They have to understand that you're making some of your audience relive some of the things that they've been through in life. You're not even spelling correctly to be in my comments talking. See, this is what we're talking about. People lack coming in to lack. That's why I said I had a phenomenal live yesterday. And I thank the people that can come in with an adult mind and just ask questions and ask adult questions, right? But this is what he's saying. People just addicted to being assholes, right? Right? So I think that we have to, what they have to understand is that, man, especially with us, we are traumatized people. So you don't know how a person is going to respond to a trauma that you're showing them or you're reenacting. And they're not all the time going to look at it that he's an actor playing a role. They're going to take things personal, right? But I don't think that if he don't have no stain on his jacket or his character as a man, that you should go to his page and make distasteful comments about his mother, right? And when they say we got to do better as a people, better have to be introduced to our mind, right? We have to see better examples. Like you said, he played a preacher in BMF, but BMF is nothing but genocide. Big Meat, Southwest T, they did nothing for the black community but destroy it. But somehow they're lauded and looked at as heroes when they come home. And what bothers me with them is that they've never atoned for what they've done in that community, right? So I think that everybody has to approach things with understanding. Everything have to be approached with understanding. And because we're so uber sensitive or so uber or ready to criticize, we lack that. We lack that area of, let me see why he took that role. Let me see why he's not a typecast of always taking those kind of roles. But when you say, yo, I turned down this role because I didn't like that, but I took this role as a favor. Right? Right? And sometimes you can't feed the trolls. The trolls are like the glitches in the matrix. There are so many people that just lack common sense. But we have to understand to the crowd that we can talk to. I have no problem with Clifton Powell. I think Clifton Powell is one of the most underrated or underappreciated actors, right? So by far, I don't think that you should go to this brother page and say distasteful things. But I have to, like you said, do the research and look at that panel that they talked about to see that do they understand how those things play on people's trauma. Like people actually, like I said earlier, before I land my plane and get out of here, people actually want to be drug dealers based off of characters they saw on TV. Right? But it is what it is. You take the positive with the negative. Take the bitter with the sweet. But I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to get me some tea. But I just wanted to share that. Always appreciate the people that come in with good sense and the people that don't. They're here for a reason. Realize everybody's here for a reason. You're here for a reason. Make it worthwhile. Make your life mean something. Be of value of somebody. Peace.